How's everybody going? This is the Cajun Gaming Guild, and today we're going to be starting our playthrough for The Last Plague Blight. The reason I'm doing this playthrough and any future playthroughs from many games is going to be because I feel like sometimes games are not 100% covered. They're for newbies, for people who are just starting out. So if you're not a new player, you might not want to watch this video. You can. That'd be awesome. I'd love to have your support. You could subscribe and like the video. If you like it. If you don't like it, then you don't have to. Uh, but it's my opinion that I watch lots of videos and there's a lot of questions. Um, I know that some people like to figure all that stuff out on their own, but there's many times where tutorials just don't do it, and people don't cover a lot of the stuff. They just do it for challenges, and I love that stuff as well. But this tutorial, or this playthrough for The Last Plague Blight, is going to be start to finish as far as the game goes at this point in early access. So if you're interested in watching, you can follow along. I'm going to cover the entire tutorial, and I will also cover other things that you might not know. Alright, so let's go ahead here. We're going to start a new game. It's just going to be standard difficulty, which is the hardest that you can get right at the moment. And we are definitely going to put less realistic so I can see myself on the map. And after this playthrough I might do another one, depending. And I might do the more realistic where you can't see yourself on the map and you have to use a compass. Alright, so let's start and see what the world gives us as a map. Here we go. T1. Press a WASD to move around. Now you'll notice my guy's walking very, well, just walking. Not super slow, but he's definitely slower than when you run. So if I push my E key, that's how I have it set up. I'm going to run. I'm not holding it down, I just pressed it once and I have it set up in the settings. If you watched my first video, you'll understand what I did. It says use the scroll mouse wheel in and out. Okay, that's done. Hold the mouse wheel down to turn around your character so you can pan the camera around. Hold and let go with your hatchet to attack. This method, and you'll notice that as I move, wherever my mouse is facing, your character will turn. So this is handy. If something's chasing you, you can run backwards and still fight it to try and get away if you don't think you can win. And at least you're still fighting. So you may end up beating it before it kills you. Alright? Press Alt to highlight nearby objects of interest. That's like a lot of games nowadays. I remember that's how Diablo was way back in the day. So I just have it set to toggle on, so when I hit it once, everything is just going to be shown. Press Tab on your inventory to take note of the items you start with. You start off with 5 cured sausage in this standard mode. If you were playing easy mode, you would end up with 8, I believe. You have a full row of them. You start off with a steel knife, and this is for basically for hunting, for gutting animals. And you also start with a bedroll. And you can, I'm going to mention right now, you can only get one bedroll. Okay, so I made the mistake one playthrough. Towards the end of the game, I had to travel a far, far distance to get some silver, alright, on the island in the middle of the ocean. And I brought my bedroll with me thinking I'd be staying overnight, and I did. And when I woke up the next morning, there was a blight storm. I kind of got a little bit worried because I didn't have too much health or anything, and I just ran. I thought I got to make it back home, get some tea made and some potions, and completely forgot my bedroll there. And at the time, I was kind of new to the game, so it really sucked. I ended up getting back, worked all day at home, never realized I didn't bring my bedroll, and then that night when I had like no energy left, it turned dark and I went to sleep and I thought, uh-oh, I don't have a bedroll. Now what am I going to do? So I got pretty disappointed and discouraged and I thought, shoot, what, I don't even know how to sleep. And I didn't at that point in time. So I just quit the game and started again. So for anybody who has not played, you don't have to do that. If you ever forget your bedroll, you do not have to give up thinking there's nothing you can do. You can actually press the P key and it shows it down here, and there's character actions, and you can lie down right on the ground right where you're standing. Now I'm gonna warn you though, if you do that, it's gonna be, you're only gonna get 70% of your energy back, which is still better than nothing. So if you do forget your sleeping bag somewhere, you can do that just enough to make it there for the next day. All right, so don't give up hope. There is a solution. All right. All right. So, in saying all that, let's take a look at our map, and we are going to see where might be a good place to set up. You do have to get to this big island towards the end of the game, so keep that in mind. All right. Is a lot of silver on this island, and that is end game stuff. So if you can make it there through the river system, it's definitely not going to hurt you any. But you have to be aware of these swamps, okay? Because that also is a place where you will have to go. So you have to be kind of close to one of those. And personally, my gameplay experience has been super fun when I'm out in the open. Some people like forests to set up their camp. I personally love fields because it's flatter, it's more open. There's going to be lots of animals. I'm warning you now, if you're playing on standard mode, you're going to see animals all the time. Sometimes from two, three different directions. So I always like to have my back up against a river or a lake, because if you get overwhelmed, you can always jump in the water and try and get away. Now, animals will, if they're pissed off enough, they're going to jump in the water after you. So just be aware of that. And don't think your fire is going to make you immune either. If you make them angry enough by throwing spears at them, they will chase you right to your fire pit. All right? So just be aware of that. So I think that somewhere's in this area right here, now you do want trees, it's just you don't have to have a ton of trees. Like, as long as, but because early to mid game, you're going to make either a wheelbarrow or a cart, and you will be able to use that to go out to the forest close by, fill it full of firewood or logs or whatever you want to do, and you can bring it back, and it's not that bad. It's not that difficult. And there's always going to be a few trees here and there, even in the fields, so you won't run out of firewood anytime soon. All right, so we're going to make our way up. I like the fact that there's a bunch of swamps here, so there'll be plenty of slime to collect. And I like the fact that there's a decent sized field here. The only thing I don't love is the mountainy area, but there is some here. It just looks like it's full of trees. That's the only thing, so it'll be half difficult to see. So we are going to just see what it looks like over here. That's quite far. I don't think I'd make it there by tonight. So I think we're going to go take a look right here and see at least what it looks like. All right. So you'll notice there's villages and towns all over the map. Those places are going to be covered with blight, and it's going to be like a good distance around it. So in saying that, you may have to cross a river sometimes. But for now, I'm just going to go around this side of the lake, and we'll check out these little hilly, mountainy areas as we go. And we will see if we can't find a cave or two on the way to where we're going to be setting up camp. Alright, now as we follow our little tutorial, which is down at the bottom right of our screen, it says we have to collect 10 small stones. So we're going to do that on the way to our camp. As well, we are going to pick up one large stone, which we already did. And you can right click on a large stone, put craft with, and you can make a bowl. And you're going to need a bowl to start the game. And this bowl is going to help you cook food, boil water on your fire. So I would just go right ahead and do that right away, just to have it on you. Some people might like to save the room until they have a place set up, and that's, again, that's up to how you want to play. Another thing we're going to be keeping our eye out for on the way is a piece of flint. And I say that and I find one right off the bat. It's always good to have more than one, but I don't have to have two right now. So as I go out my travels later, I'll probably find another one pretty easily and I will pick it up. Alright, but for now I just need one, and that's going to be to start our fire once we build our fire pit, which is why we're collecting the 10 small stones. Alright, so we are moving around this lake, as you can see on my map. And we're going to kind of haul into the field a little more, just so we can see if we can't find a cliff face or some rocky outcrops and find some copper maybe. This right here, this sandstone rich rock, this is going to be important later on. You're going to find one of these with a pickaxe once you get one. And you're going to knock that down and find a large chunk of sandstone. And when you get that, you'll be able to make a grinding wheel. That could be one of the very first things I work for. A lot of people work for different things at the start. I work for that, because there's nothing worse than having your axes, your hatchets, your knives, your saw blades. Once they get dull, it takes you way longer, way more energy to break them down, to do your work with them, I should say. So like cutting trees, etc. And you'll notice your energy and food goes down way faster. It takes you way longer. So it's always good to keep up on that. Over here on the left, you'll notice my bars. My top one is stamina bar, and you'll notice I was starting to huff and puff. My stamina got a little bit too low because I've been running the whole time. So I'm just going to sit here, let it grow up. Now, some people could just walk. You could switch to walking mode, and it will slowly creep up that way, but it's faster if you stand still. The next bar is your energy level, which you start off with not that much at the start of the game, but once you sleep the first night, it will fill up. Your next one is your hunger bar, so you do not want to let this get too low, or you will have a icon, like a debuff that pops up here saying you lost so much of your stamina bar. I believe the same thing happens with your water, which is the next bar, thirst. And the last one is your health bar, okay? You don't want to die. If you don't want to die, don't let that get empty. That's the easiest way to say this, okay? There is one other bar that you do not see yet, and that's your Blight bar. Your Blight bar fills up as you walk through the clouds of Blight that we see over here to my left. Or when you go into the swamps, there's like a little haze of Blight. So you are going to want to watch out when you go into the swamps, but you do have to go in them. But just be prepared. The game is going to give you a little tutorial and tips, and it's going to tell you, be prepared, and that is no joke. You do want to be prepared once you go into the swamp. I might as well just cut through here and go straight. Another thing, these right here on the bottom of my screen, there's little icons with hotkeys. They tell you how to open your different menus with hotkeys. Pressing tab will open your inventory, okay? And you can still move when your inventory is moved. You can move when your map is moved, okay? Or map is open, sorry. If you press C, that's going to open up your crafting menu. And in your crafting menu, you'll have different subsections if you want to just look through them to see what you can build. Or you can hit the search button if you already know what you're going to make. So I'm going to make an axe, for instance. Just type it in the search, and anything to do with the axe will come up. Alright. Over here in the top right, in a different tab, you have structures. That's the buildings. And to open that up, you press the B button from just normal. And that'll open up all the things that you can place down on the ground. Walls, floors, crafting benches of any type, fire pits, kilns, that sort of thing. That's all going to be in that menu. Alright. If you press R, this is something that you will probably use a little bit. You don't have to do it this way. You could just open your inventory, right click on something, and click repair. But if you hit R, that's the hotkey for repairing. And anything that you can repair will be here, but it says you might need a tool, like a sharpening stone or a grinding wheel or a dagger if you have spears, for instance. Now you'll notice right here, on my map, it looks like there's a bridge here. Alright, it looks like the road just goes through, and that just means you can cross the water here and not get wet. Your feet might get wet, but you don't see it. It doesn't affect your character any. So this is a good little place to keep tabs of if you need to cross the river at any point and not get yourself all soaked. Alright, get all your stuff in your backpack all wet. Now, we're going to look for a little place to settle right here in the near vicinity. I would like to be somewhat near a forest, but I don't want to be too close to this town over here. So let's take a look. I kind of like this lake right here, and there's a little bit of forest. So we're gonna go take a peek over here and see what that looks like in order to set up our first little camp. And we're gonna see what that does. I'm still collecting. Oh, I already collected my 10 stones. I must have, because my tutorial says set up camp near a source of water. Alright, so here's that lake. And we want to set up our camp near the edge of the water, but we don't want to be super close to Blight because it does spread. But this little patch here, I could get rid of that with 4 or 5 burn piles. That would be gone. So I could get rid of it pretty easily, but I don't really want to be right next to it anyway. I do want to be closer to trees. So we're just going to skirt around. Oh boy, look at what I see there. A cabin. That's excellent news, but it looks like it's covered in blight, so we're going to see if we can't get in this cabin. I'm hoping I can. Oh my. It looks like there's lots of blight. So inside I can see that there's a steel forged axe, which is much better than a steel hatchet. Even though it's damaged, it's going to be better. You can repair axes. You cannot repair pickaxes in this game. Even when you make your own brand new, right out of the forge pickaxe, you will never be able to repair it. Just keep that in mind. And if you find one in a cabin, yes, you got lucky because you'll be able to break things right away, but it's going to take you a ton of energy to break down stuff with the broken pickaxes that you're going to find in here. So, in order for me to get this forged steel axe right here, I'm going to have to take a little bit of damage, I think, from the blight. And I don't really want to, but that axe is kind of important. And right now, okay. So I was in there for, oh shoot, watch where I'm walking. Alright, I took a tiny bit, 2.2, that's nothing. You don't really start taking any negative effects, I think, until you get to about 5. So, and that's, as long as I stay out of it, that'll take a couple more days. Alright, so there's nothing really all that bad. And it was definitely worth getting that axe for. I was kind of hoping there might be a bottle in there with a glass top, or a glass bottle with a top on it, because then you can start storing your water and your things in there, and it just helps speed you on your way. So I think I'm going to settle down underneath the lake, because I'll be closer to the hilly areas and the fields over here. And there's lots of woods to my right, so that's going to be kind of handy. So let's go over here, find us a nice flat spot, which could be right where I'm standing. Actually, this looks pretty nice. I just want to look over here, see if it looks any better. It's relatively flat. I mean, it's not too bad. Alright, So I think we are going to, as the only thing is you have to, there's one thing I never mentioned, and I might as well talk about it now. As you start getting your camp set up, you are going to start forging metal, all right? And in order to forge things with an anvil, for instance, okay, you're going to use a rock at the start because you don't have a hammer. You will get a hammer, and you will get an anvil. But to start, all you can do is use a stump from a tree to pound out your weapons or to pound out your axe head or your pickaxe head or whatever you're planning on making. So you have to have a tree stump near where you have your bloomery and your, I can't remember what the name of the other thing is, but I'll tell you guys as we get there. So it's kind of important that you have at least one tree set up near where you're going to camp. So if I was to set it up over here, I will not have access to a tree stump because there are no trees over there. All right. So I'm going to be at least a little close to some trees. But on the other hand, you don't want 100 trees in your area because that means you're going to have tree stumps everywhere and you're going to be tripping over them. When you throw your spears at animals, you're going to hit them. And so you want to be aware that where you want to set up your camp, you want it relatively open, but at least one or two tree stumps in the area that you can use as a place, like a makeshift anvil, I guess. That's what you would call that. So I'm going to set up right where I'm standing, basically. And you're going to notice that I am going to put my fire pit that I build very close to the water. Uh, that's totally up to you what you want to do. You can put it, a little ways away. I'm going to craft my very first fire pit. All right. So we're going to, not craft, sorry, build my very first fire pit because it's something you have to place on the ground. So we're going to find fire pit, and we are going to, like I said, I'm going to be pretty close to the water, but it says you can't be placed in the water. So this little gray area must be considered water, and you want to be careful of that because if I set up my camp here, a lot of my stuff I won't even be able to organize or set up because of this. It's just the game thinks that there's water here, and that's fine. There probably is water there. I can hear it on my feet when I'm walking. So I might want to move over just a bit more or move up just a bit more. So I'm going to just move off a little bit. Make sure that there's no water right here because I'm going to want at least a 3x3 eventually. And I think I may move even a little bit more this way and set up right here. So I wanted my fire pit. I like to have that right next to the water as much as I possibly can so that when I want to collect water, I don't have to run far. I can just turn around, pick it up, and put it in my fire pit because you are going to need a ton of water in this game. Alright, so I built my fire pit. It says stockpile some firewood and wait till sunset and do other tasks while tending to other tasks. So this is where I'm going to start building a little hut, like a shelter over top of my fire pit. It's up to you what you want to do. I'm also going to put my bedroll down. And I've played this game a few times now. And I could put my bedroll roughly here. And animals should not bother me when I go to bed at night. I'm not going to do that. But I do want to give myself some room so I can build my little hut with the poles that I'm going to be putting into the ground. So I'm going to put it a little far away for now until I figure out what my camp is going to look like. And then once I've done that, I will move it. Alright. So up here, I don't know if I've talked about this in the previous video. I'm pretty sure I did. You can sort your inventory to give yourself more room as you're picking up things. I'm going to start stockpiles in the near area just to get rid of some things on my body. And then I'm going to go out and grab some trees to start my little shelter. Okay. So here we have a young tree. You can see it. Here we have a young tree. There's a young tree. Tons and tons of young trees. Very awesome. I never even really noticed that when I first picked this area, but that is awesome. Because when you start making your cabin, you can make it with sticks if you want. So this right here is a stick. we can build a medium post with a stick, which only comes to just above your head, and you can make your entire cabin out of that, and that would be awesome. The only problem with that is, if you go to make a drying rack on your fire pit later, it's too tall, and you will not be able to put it underneath. You will have to make a new fire pit outside of your camp in order to do that. Or, if you'd like, there are three different types of poles you can make. The small sticks make like a half fence. If you want to surround your area with a fence, you can use small sticks. Or you can use these young trees. And when you cut them down, they will create these thin trunks. And you hold the control button, pick it up, and it's going to go into both your hands. So be aware of that. If your inventory is full and you have something in your offhand, you will not be able to pick this up till you drop it. Bring it over to your camp, right click on it and build with, and you'll get a tall post, which you can set up, and you will be able to build a drying rack under the height of this one. So this is how I build my camps, with these young trees, and there's a bunch in the area. I can see them from here. So when I'm setting my pole down, I'm going to hold the Alt key down, and what this does is it snaps it to the grid, because I like to have my camp nice and straight. I don't like to have like these wonky camps you might see on other people's channels, and that's up to them. That's totally up to however they want to play. But I am going to make this, I'm going to set this up so that my pole is near my fire pit, but still covering it. I think that should be relatively safe right there, but we'll give it a little bit of room. It says I'm starting to get a bit thirsty. My water bar is getting down to 25. All right, it gives you a little bit of a warning. I'm not going to die. I can let that run out even, but I am going to make this fire pit work here in a few minutes. And actually, we might as well start doing that right now. So to do this, you're going to start collecting tinder, and you're going to need a way to start it. So if you click on your fire pit, it shows it down here. Tinder and kindling, all right? So tinder can be what you're going to do is you're going to pick up these pine branches that you are collecting from all the trees that you're cutting. And that is, those pine branches are going to be used for your roof at the start of the game, unless you want to spend the time to go out and collect a bunch of clay to waste on roof. That's totally up to you if you want to do that, but that is definitely the long game. Now you just notice I just messed up. I was talking too much, I guess, but I guess I have to talk, and I cut up that small log instead of carrying it over here and using it as a post. Minor stuff. I'm just going to use that log as firewood because I do need some. But for now, we are going to make some tinder. So if you right click on these pine branches that you can also use as a roof, you can use your knife, and what you're going to do is you're going to rip them apart. Alright, well, you're not using your knife. It doesn't show that you're using a tool. And what this creates is the pine leaves. I'm going to right click on this and start a stockpile of these. And I want to keep this relatively close to my fire pit, okay? Because I want to be able to get these when I need them. Now, I might move this in a little bit because I don't know where I'm going to put my next pole for my shelter. But right now I have a stockpile of these pine leaves, and if I ever need any, I just click on it, and I'm just going to hold the Alt key, and when you hold the Alt key, it actually pulls out half from your stack, but because of the way the game's made, when you drop it in your backpack, it's just going to make a stack, which is 5. I'm going to click on my fire pit, I'm going to hold shift button to put it inside of my tinder area, and any extra that was there is going to go into my fuel. Okay, next I need some kindling. Kindling, you can use twigs, and you'll see that 2 is not enough. It only gives me a 68% chance of actually lighting the fire, so you're better off to fill that, and you can just right click on sticks, craft, and you can break twigs in 2. So I only need 2 more, so I'm just going to break 1 stick down and put those in, and now I will have a 100% chance of lighting this fire, as long as it's not raining. If it's raining, this is going to go down a huge amount, so just be aware of that. This is why you build a shelter over your fire pit, so that shouldn't happen unless the tinder and the kindling that you picked up was also outside of your shelter and it got wet in a rainstorm. Or let's say you have your piece of flint that's on your body. If you got wet, your piece of flint is going to be wet, and that will drop your chances of lighting the fire, okay? And if you fail, you lose your kindling and your tinder, and you have to go find new kindling and tinder. Just be aware of that, okay? In here, if you want to drop other sources of fuel, like sticks, long sticks do not, oh yeah, they do fit. So you can put those in there, or firewood will fit, but it just barely fits horizontally, so just be aware of that. And your fire pits can only hold 11 hours-ish of fuel. After that, you can't automatically just put it in there. It'll just stack inside the fuel area that I was just showing you, okay? So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to collect this log, and you walk a little bit slower when you're carrying logs, and the bigger the log, the slower you walk, okay? We are going to equip our hatchet or our axe. We're going to cut this up into pieces, and we are going to pick up this firewood and drop it into the fire pit with a right click. You can left click on it and just drag it out of your hand and put it in here if you want. And when I'm here, I am going to ignite my fire and get this going right now. Once my fire is lit, I am going to, well, my thirst bar is definitely a lot lower. It's down to 17. I'm going to equip this bowl that we created earlier. I'm going to put it in my offhand, and I'm going to right click on the lake. And if you look at your bar, it does tell you that, or sorry, if you look at your mouse key, it does give you hints. You can shift click this from your offhand to bring it right into the cooking area, or you can just drag it if you want to. That's totally up to what you want to do. And it's going to tell you that you can boil this down, and it'll give you potable water, 140 milliliters of potable water that you will be able to drink, and it takes 13 in-game minutes. So we're just going to let that happen, and we are going to go out and grab another pole. This time I'm going to try not to cut this down to firewood, because I really don't want to walk too far for these young trees, because they do slow you down. Oh, there we go. We'll go back and we're going to set up this pole and try and set up at least a 1 square shelter for tonight. If we don't get it fixed, it's not going to, or if we don't get it finished, it's not the end of the world. The reason I say that is, in my experience with my playthroughs so far, I have not one time had it rain on me for the first 2 to 3 days. So maybe you've had a different experience, but that's my experience with the game. So don't worry about it raining. I don't believe it's going to happen the first night for sure. So some people rush to get this first shelter done. It's not completely necessary. You might feel like you have to run out and grab a bunch of food, kill some animals, set up snares. Like it's going to show you in the tutorial. You're going to want to set up a snare soon. Not net. Oh, I almost cut that trunk down again. But you start off with a bunch of sausages. Those sausages last a long time, and they give you quite a bit of food. So it's not completely necessary to go out hunting animals right away anyway. But you might want to do it just to get rid of the tutorial and to continue on that path. Okay, so I'm going to set up more poles here. I am going to at least start my shelter. I'm not going to finish it tonight probably, but I'm going to at least start it. And you'll notice that my fire pit has now stopped sizzling. Okay, just give me a second. I'm just trying to line this up so that it looks okay. Alright, so we'll go with somewhere here. I believe that looks okay. And so we're going to click on our fire pit now, and we are going to see that our water has been boiled, and we can right click on it, and we're going to drink all of it. And then we are going to drag this back into our offhand, and we are going to fill it up again and get some more water going, because you'll notice that my bar did not fill up a huge amount. And we'll go grab another pole. And then looking at my setup, I don't like where I have this pole, so we are going to hit control and we're going to take this out. Speed this up. Yeah, I kind of want to line it up this way, I think. that in a different location. Alt. There we go. That looks better. I think I like that. That's where I want it. Okay. Now we'll go get some more tree trunks. This right here is a small tree. It doesn't look too much different from the other one, but it is a little bit wider at the base. This one's thinner at the base, and you can tell from a distance if you're looking. So this would be a small tree here behind it. You'll notice I kind of got out of the way of the tree trunk falling, or the tree falling. Just a warning, these small young trees, they're not going to do much damage, if any at all, to you. But the large trees, if you let that fall on you, it can. I've gotten hit for 30 damage before, which is quite a hit in this game, so be very careful of that. I have to move my stockpile of leaves because it was going to be right in the way of my next pole. So again, when you're setting up camp, you might have to move things around. Totally up to you. And we are going to set this up. Let's see here. Hold the Alt key to make sure you're snapping to grid. And that looks good right there. That's a pretty good square. Alright. Now that I set up my first initial shelter, one thing I want to explain to you guys is you want to make sure that you can move through your camp. I have in other games put chests here, let's say, just to keep my range all awesome and stuff, but you're trying to run through to get to your fire pit, and bam, you're stuck. There's basically a wall there that you created with chests, so you can't get over it, and it gets to be a pain in the butt. So when I make my shelters now, I always make them like 2x2s, 3x3s, or 2x3s, whatever, just to have tons of room to move around underneath. And then I keep my chests and I keep my wood piles, etc., off of where I would normally be traveling. Okay, so if I'm going to be high traffic to get to my kiln over here, let's say if I set up over here, I want to keep this area where I'm going to have shelter empty of chests and different things, so I can just run through without getting stopped. Because mid to late game, you're going to see a lot of bears, you're going to see a lot of wolves, and they're going to chase you near your fire pit, and you're going to want to get to your fire pit and hope that it pushes them away. And you don't want to get stuck by a chest or a wall that you built. Just be aware of that. Now, walls will keep them out, but if you can't get through it, you just trapped yourself. Okay? So just be careful for that. Alright, so for the first night, you're going to start hearing a wolf howl here very, very soon. That's going to signify that night has fallen, and the animals are going to spawn in nearby, and they're going to start coming a little bit closer to our camp, and they're going to stay around our camp all night long until morning. That's how the game is designed, that's how it works, and as you get further into the game, the animals will get more and more difficult. Instead of coyotes at the start, they're going to turn to wolves, they're going to turn to black bears, brown bears. You may even have a chance of seeing a black bear within the first couple days. It does happen, alright? So for tonight, I just have to make sure that I have enough firewood to last me the night, so that my fire doesn't go out and then I have to fight off a bunch of animals. So we are going to cut down a few of these small trees, or at least one. And it even says in the tutorial, ignite 8 hours worth of fuel in the fire pit. Okay? So, in order to sleep all night, okay, the game is going to give you a warning when you lay down on your bed. It's going to say you have this much firewood, you have to sleep this long to get your energy back, and it's going to give you a number, and it's this far away to sunrise. So you have to make sure that the amount of firewood that you have placed in your fire pit as fuel is bigger than the time that you're going to need to sleep. Be aware of that. So I'm going to collect a bunch of firewood now before it gets dark, and I'm going to make sure that I have enough so that when I wake up in the morning, I can just grab a little bit of firewood if I want to keep my fire going. So right now I have 9 hours of fuel. I'm going to grab one more tree before bed. Now, also, you're going to notice my max stamina bar has been lowered to 73. And that is because of my energy. See, it shows here. Remember I said there would be a debuff? It says tired. It's been a while since you last slept. Max stamina is reduced by 27%. So anytime you see a debuff here, you want to try and work on getting rid of that debuff, because you don't want a stamina bar that's 3/4 full. It's already a pain in the butt as is. So just be aware of that sort of thing. Try and keep your bars at least to 25%. Okay, I just heard the wolves howling. That's good. That means it's night. That means we're going to probably go to bed soon here. I'm just going to try and get this firewood cut up before the coyotes start coming in. And you want to be careful on your stamina bar, because if they do come in and you can't run, they will get you. Alright? So I'm just going to pull this over here. We should be good now for firewood, but I am going to at least make a stockpile near the fire. We'll put it here for now. And we're going to grab at least one piece of wood and put that in the fire just to bring it up closer to 10 hours, 10, 11 hours. Okay, it did not go... Oh, because I didn't just grab one, I grabbed 4. My bad. If you hold down control, you can just drag one item at a time, and it says I can add this, and it highlights. If I put more than one, that's going to be over the 11-hour-ish mark, and it will not allow you to add it. So you have to be within the 11 hours in order for it to add. I'm going to drink up this water that I made, and I definitely need a little bit more water, but I am going to put this wood down into a stockpile again. And we are going to get some water. Just a few more drinks before I go to sleep for the night. Alright. Now, you'll notice if you watch any more of my videos, or if you watch other videos that I will be making in the future, I'm a risk taker. Just because it's night and just because there are coyotes walking around out there, whatever. I'm not a person that's just going to hide. I am going to try and work a little bit in the dark. Try not to die, of course, but I'm not going to let those things stop me. I am going to go out, I'm going to collect things instead of wasting my time while my water boils, I'm going to collect some things. And I'm also going to make some more some stockpiles, because I have a bunch of pine leaves here that I picked up earlier it was in my way. I'm just going to put it over here for now. I should be okay for a couple days before the first rain hits. I'll start some more stockpiles over here next to the rocks to keep it out of my way for now. We'll make one for the pine leaves, pine branches I should say, and we'll make one for the sticks, and one for the small sticks. And last but not least, these dog vein stems. This is how you make rope. Right click on it and you can just rip them up and you'll create rope with them. And we will make a stockpile of these. You are going to need a lot of rope early game. You will need rope later, so it's never a bad thing to pick it up while you're running around out in the wilderness. So I'll make a stockpile of that. And I heard that my water just finished boiling up. We will drink that up. And we are going to get one more done for tonight before we go to sleep. Our food's getting a little bit low. So I will show you that when you eat food, it's going to show that it's going to give me a penalty of minus 2.6 water. So when I eat this, my water bar will go down a little bit, but you do need to eat. So no matter what you're going to have to eat, just be aware that if you're too low on water and you eat one of these, it could be more of a negative effect for yourself. Just make sure you always have some water ready, or at least boiling. Alright, now my food bar is full. It's at 100%. I only have one sausage left. So that means tomorrow we are probably going to do a tiny bit of hunting. Okay. 4 minutes left. I might have some time to run out here and grab... Oh, there's a large bush here. This is going to become a problem to me. It's going to get in the way. It slows your movement down and it blocks you completely. So I'll probably just chop that down either tonight or tomorrow and get it right out of my area. Alright, this should be almost done. I'll drink one more, and then I'm going to get one more bowlful set up on the fire, and then I'm going to go to sleep for the night. Drink that down. There we go. Alright, we'll let that go. I'm going to just go to bed on my bedroll. I'm going to click on it. Here's that warning I told you about. It says 8 hours for sunrise. I'm going to need 8 hours sleep to get my energy back, and my fire will last 9 hours and 20 minutes. So I have more fuel than I am going to sleep. It's safe to go to bed. So I'm going to hit sleep, and the fire should keep the animals away all night long. They won't go too close to you because of the fire. You'll wake up the next morning, and you just leave your sleeping bag, your bedroll. It's going to open up my journal, and it's going to give me a little bit of information up here, okay, a little bit of storyline. It's going to tell me what to do, okay, be on the lookout for clues. Since I've played the game through, I'll let you read through this if you want to, but one thing I do want to mention is down here on your tutorial, it's going to tell you what to do step by step for quite a distance into the game. It's going to say, place 4 support beams to connect the posts in the square. It's also going to tell you build this, build that, create one of these, whatever, and it doesn't really give you detail just by looking at it from this area. But if you hover your mouse, you'll notice that it's different information, and that is where, if you're not sure how to build a kiln, it's going to give you very good detail where to collect the materials, how to make the bricks, etc. And so it will be up to you to, you can just hover your mouse over here to read that better information, or you can hit the J button and just search for it. Okay, it's all right here. Everything has been recorded, and you can search for, okay, how do I make a kiln again? If you don't know how to, you will figure it out pretty quick, and it'll give you in better detail the information that you're looking for. Okay, it's a start a fire for cooking. We've already done that. Kindling, find some twigs. We already found some twigs. But in order to get rid of this, you're just going to have to hold some twigs in your hands. And it says we need 4. We only have 1. So we are going to just take a few sticks just to get rid of that. I need to get rid of that so we can see the next thing to do in the tutorial. So we'll just break a couple of these up. As soon as I do it, you'll see that my tutorial has been updated. I see a rabbit. I like rabbits. Rabbits have less contamination than other animals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple long sticks right quickly, and I'm going to turn these into spears. Alright. Because part of our quest, and I might as well get to that point before I kill this rabbit, since he is hanging around, I'm going to get a small stone, and we're also going to need a large stone, because that's what it's telling me to do. Even though I had already done this part, I still have to do it again for the quest. Sometimes you don't have to, sometimes you do. There's a pig over there, there's a coyote over there. Alright. Use the small stone to hammer a bowl out of your large rock. So we're going to do that just to update our tutorial. So now I have 2 bowls. And it's not a bad thing to have 2 bowls, but I don't need to carry it around with me. Create a rabbit snare and place the rabbit snare on the ground. So in order to kill that rabbit, I don't need a rabbit snare. I can kill it with my spear. But in order to advance the tutorial, we are going to do what it asks. And I believe you need some sticks, so we'll just bring a stack of sticks. We'll bring all the ropes that we have, just to make sure we have enough. We're going to right click on a rope, and we are going to craft with, I believe, crafting for a rabbit snare, not build. And it says here I need 6 sticks and some rope. So we'll just pull a couple more pieces of stick and make this rabbit snare. So 3 rope. Create this, done, and it says place it. So if you right click on it, you can place this down. I'm going to keep it relatively close to camp. Just be aware that animals are going to come try and eat it, so they're going to be closer to your camp if you keep it too close. So I'll put it out a little distance away. put it near this lime-rich rock so I'll know exactly where to find it when I'm looking for it later. Now that that's done, it's saying I can get the rabbit now and we're going to cook it up. So I'm going to look for this little bunny that's been running around. If I can still find him. Hopefully, yeah, there he is right there. We're going to see if we can't kill him. Oh, I missed him. We're going to chase him a little bit. If you chase him too closely, he will run just further and further away. Sometimes I find if you aim right on top of their heads. Oh, I missed. Alright, we'll go grab these spears. Because we want to try again. I want to try and get this rabbit. Snares are good to catch them. But I can't wait that long. Sometimes snares take a little bit of time. My goodness gracious, this rabbit's invincible. And I find it's easier to hit animals from the top of them instead of shooting up. Like if I'm throwing a spear uphill, it's harder to hit animals because you hit the hill instead of the animal. Going downhill is easier. My goodness, this rabbit is hard to hit. Now, is that me because my target was not dead on the rabbit? Probably not. Throwing spears is very inaccurate in this game, and you're going to notice even hitting coyotes and bears sometimes can be a bit of a pain in the butt. But I find that if you go side to, it is easier. Where did the rabbit go? I lost him. Shoot. Oh, he ran into my snare. Perfect. All right, so here's your snare. It says there's a trapped creature inside of it, and if you right click on it, it says you're going to kill it. If you see the right here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use our knife. We're going to kill the rabbit, and we are going to open up the menu, and you can get some fat, you can get some intestines, you can get some hide, and you can get some meat. All I want right now this early in the game is the meat. The rest of it is going to be used later on, but I'm not going to be using it today. So what I would suggest, I don't think it matters, but I'm just going to, because I don't want to see this dead rabbit in my snare the whole time, I'm just going to move my snare over just a little bit. And that way there, if I want to catch another rabbit, I'll be able to quickly look and say, oh, there's a rabbit in that one now. I mean, not that it doesn't say it, but with that rabbit there, sometimes I get confused because you can see something and you think, oh, I got another rabbit, but it's just the old one that you left there. And in real life, that wouldn't work. If you catch a rabbit in a snare, you ain't going to catch any more in that snare if you leave it there, or if you leave the guts there. So you have to move it out of the way. So now we're going to cook the raw rabbit in the fire pit. You'll notice I have 4 minutes left on my fire pit expiring. So we're just going to load up the fire pit so it doesn't go out. Some people don't like to have it lit for the day. That's totally up to how you play. I like to keep mine lit all the time. I try and keep a stack of firewood nearby. Now, in order to cook the rabbit, I'm going to drink all the water that I have in my bowl, and now I'll be able to put the rabbit in here and it will allow me to cook it. Later on, you're going to learn recipes on how to cook the rabbit, and then actually it's going to tell me that very, very soon. And these recipes will make the rabbit give you more hunger bar. Well, your hunger bar will go up higher if you use these recipes for the same amount of meat. And that's kind of important. So I'm just going to drop this second bowl because I don't need to carry it around on me right now. And that's gonna be 15 minutes. So in the meantime, I am gonna run over here and I'm going to grab myself another tree to cut down. We'll use the steel axe instead of the hatchet, and this large tree should come down relatively easy. It's not in perfect condition, but, or no, I'm not using the hatch. I'm using the hatchet still, not the axe. It's in pretty rough shape, the axe, but I'm definitely going to keep it until I can sharpen it. And once I can sharpen it, I'll have a much better tool. Alright. Now, I do not have to wait for the grinding wheel to sharpen that axe. You can find a piece of small sandstone, and you can use that to sharpen some of your tools. You will lose more durability than if you had a grinding wheel, but at least you can get the axe into really good working condition. So I might go out and look for a piece of sandstone here in a bit, because that will speed up my game a little tiny bit. So we're going to see how that works. Sculpt a clay bowl and harden it in the mud brick kiln. That's what it's telling me to do. For that step, we're going to eat up this bunny. He is ready to go. You're going to notice that this is going to be a little bit contaminated, 1%. I believe that predators are way more contaminated, so if you're planning on eating coyotes, wolves, or bears, your bar is going to go up way quicker. Eating rabbits is the best thing to do early game if you want to try and keep your blight level low. Okay, there will be ways to get rid of blight, so you don't really have to be too worried about it. But just be aware of that. Alright, so that's done. I'm just going to get some more water boiling while we're working so that when we come by later we'll be able to just drink it. Alright. Now we'll cut up this firewood. And we're going to go for a little walk because we're going to need rope to get our shelter built. I am going to try and get my shelter built today. At least a 1 block over my fire pit, just in case it rains, because I do not want it to go out quicker or go out at all during the night. And if I can, I might get another one built here, another square built for my bed roll. So now I have 11 hours, which is very good. I could just leave this firewood here, but I'll just bring it a little closer and stack it up near my fire pit just to make it a little bit easier on myself. I'm going to leave it outside for now so the rain can get to it if it rains, but it should be okay for a couple days until I can get it indoors. Alright. So we're going to go for a little walk. We're going to look for some dog bane. And while I'm out here, I'm also going to be looking for a sandstone rock, which is right here. I can see one already. And I'm hoping that I might find a small chunk of sandstone. Like I do find one right off the bat. And this is going to allow me to sharpen this axe I was telling you guys about. So if you open your repair, I could... hold on a second. Sharpening stone. There we go. You will be able to click... I'm not sure why it's not allowing... Oh, there we go. It's not allowing me to repair my hatchet because my hatchet is not damaged enough. Because it only brings it up to a certain repair up to 50%. So since my axe is already over 50% condition, it does not allow me to repair my steel hatchet. So if you look down here on your axe, my axe right now is almost broke. It's basically, what is the condition here? 0% condition. It's basically unusable right now, and it's going to take me probably 5 times the energy to cut down a tree than it would with my hatchet. So if I use this, I can at least bring it up to 50%. I'm going to lose a little bit of durability, but at least the axe will be very usable. And it'll actually work really good because it's better than the hatchet. So it's almost the equivalent right now at 50% of the hatchet. Alright, so in saying that, now I have 2 methods of cutting down my tree. So if my hatchet gets too low, I can use the axe instead. Am I going to carry around the axe? Not for too long, because once it gets lower again, I'm just going to throw it on the ground and wait until I can get the grinding stone. And the grindstone, that will bring your stuff up a lot more, and you lose a lot more durability. So while we're out here, we're going to be also picking up dandelions. Alright, we're going to pick up dandelions, we're going to pick up dog bane, which is how we make our rope. Why am I picking up dandelions, you might ask? Well, there's a couple ways in this game that you can make salt. One of them is just to cook up a bunch of dandelions on a bowl in the fire pit. And when you do that, it turns them into salt. So this is how you're going to get salt in the game to preserve your food. You're going to need it to tan leather down the road. Alright, you're going to soak your leather in a soak bin. And you're going to need to put a little bit of salt in there with your water in order for that to dry up your animal skins. So it's important to have dandelions. One thing you'll know about me as you watch, I don't usually plant gardens. Some people might, but because I put my first camp in a field like I have done, you're going to realize that I don't really need to plant gardens. There is going to be plants everywhere out there. And if you look at my backpack right now, you'll notice I have a ton of stuff that I just, what did that take me? A minute, 2 minutes to go collect all these? So planting gardens, it's totally up to you if you want to do that. If you make your camp into the woods somewhere, you may want to change that, but I'm going to drink this. Oh, there's a coyote. He got a little bit too close chasing that bunny, but my fire pit kind of scared him off, luckily for me. So, cooking area, I'm going to, since I couldn't drink all my water, I'm just going to empty the water because otherwise you can't cook the salt. So now that it's empty, I can cook the salt and it's going to give me 600 grams of salt, or cook the dandelion roots. Alright. Now, I don't want to carry around all this stuff with me all the time, so I'm going to make a stockpile of stone, or did I already make one of stone? I did. I'm going to put these here, and I'm going to get rid of the rope. Make one of those. I might as well pick up this dandelion, it's right in the way. Alright. And I cannot make a stockpile of dandelions because they're little plants. So in order to get rid of these, you're going to have to build a chest. Alright, so click on storage. You can make wooden chests out of planks, or to start you can make a stick chest. So we are going to put this down. I want to put it down relatively close to my fire pit. So I'm just going to put it right here. Again, I do not want to block my entrance and exit to the place too much. You're going to block it a little bit because you do need chests in here. But I'm just going to be aware so that I'm going to leave this little area between the next post open so I can at least get through here. Alright. Now this is not built yet, so I need 14 more sticks and some rope. So we're going to continue. We're going to go look for some of that. I don't want to use this stuff. I'm just going to keep it here for now. Pick up some stuff while we're out here. We need sticks and dog bane. Alright. Oh, there's a coyote over there. There's a bunch of sticks. Dandelions, we do not need those right this second, so we're going to leave those alone. And I feel like dog bane can be found everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go, you're going to find this. So don't be too concerned if you can't find any like within 10 seconds. Just look around a little bit and you'll find it all over the place. So one good practice in this game is anytime you leave camp to go mining, to go looking for things like caves, like you might want to go exploring looking for caves in your area. Speaking of which, I see a cave already in my top right of my screen, and it's super duper close to my camp. My camp is here on the map, the cave is like right here. So that is awesome news. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to go up pretty close to it. And we are going to not go inside yet. You could. It's not going to kill you. There's no animals inside here. But you can't really see too well. But you can see enough to at least navigate. And I can see that there's copper right there. There's iron rocks. There's red spotted mushrooms in caves, which are very awesome to make your teas. But I'm just going to go here to the front of the cave. I'm going to open my map, zoom in, and I'm going to right click on my map, and I'm going to put a marker down, and I'm just going to call it cave, just for quick reference for later, so I can just quickly open my map, point towards it, and run. It makes life a little bit easier. And you're going to do this, well, you don't have to do this, but you're probably going to do this for all the caves that you find, or if you find patches of copper or iron out in the world, or let's say you want to mark this sandstone rich rock, you can mark that down on your map if you want to. Alright, just going to help you out a little bit. So yeah, we're going to continue looking for dogbane. I'm glad I found that mine so close. Coyote, I got a little bit too close to him. He didn't like that, but whatever, he's not chasing me, so we're going to keep going. dog bane. More dog bane. It's awesome. I am finding a lot of it, so life is good. The only thing I never really picked a bunch of stuff up was the stick, so we'll try and pick up a few more of those on the way back. It sucks because I have a bunch of these dandelions, so I do want to get this chest made sooner rather than later, just so I can free up some space. I'm going to pick up this dogbane especially because it's so close to the blight that within a few days the blight will start to cover it, and I don't want to have to run into it to pick it up later. So if I pick it up now, saves me the hit on a future day. Alright, so let's go head back to camp. We're going to turn all of this into rope. That should give me enough rope for the chest. So it's going to give me plenty of rope for the chest. 24. We'll just let that turn to rope. Be right back. Alright, now that that's done. Oh, I just saw a crow fly off from my camp. And this is going to start the storyline. I'm adding my rope to the inventory of the stick crate, and I also still need a few sticks, but I should have enough stacked up over here. So I'll put the rest of my rope in my stockpile. I'll grab what I have left for sticks, which is not quite going to be enough, but it's going to be close. Oh, not my fire pit, my crate. I'm still missing 4, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break down one of my large sticks into 2 small sticks, and I'm going to break those down into twigs. So that should give me 4, and we are going to add those. Shoot! I made a mistake. I didn't need to break them down into twigs, I needed to break them down into sticks. So I'm just going to take this salt out of here, get rid of it for now, and we'll redo that. We're going to take 1, 2 sticks, and if I break those down, that should give me the long sticks. That'll break them down into small sticks. There, now we're good. We'll add those to the crate, and now it allows me to build it. We'll build that up pretty quick, and we're going to get rid of all the salt and all the dandelions. So, in case you didn't know, if you carry salt once it's been cooked up and turned into salt on your body, and you're running around out in the world, if you walk into water or if it rains on you, it's going to start to dissolve the salt and you're going to lose it. So you want to keep that in a crate or a jar or something and keep it underneath your shelter so that if it rains, you don't lose it. So right now this crate is not in a good position. So I will have to make a shelter, at least extend it over that by the end of tonight if possible. And that will give me a little bit of protection. So right now I picked up the letter that was sent to me. So this is going to advance the storyline, okay? You don't even see it right now on my screen, but it will pop up. We're going to right click on it, we're going to read it, and it's going to say, "We have seen your smoke from afar. We will meet in 2 days." A little bit creepy. Somebody's watching me. I don't like that. So now it's going to open my journal and it's going to tell me, wait for whoever wrote the mysterious letter, wait 2 days, 2 days remaining. And whether or not they are friendly remains to be seen. Alright, so now it will update down here and you will be able to keep track of that. That piece of paper, that letter, it has no information on it. So all I'm going to do with that is just get rid of it. I don't want it lying around my camp. And I'm going to burn it. But there are going to be letters that you're going to get later on that you will want to keep because they will have recipes on them and you might want to remember the recipe. So in order to remember it, you might just want to keep the letter. Alright, I'm going to go here, I'm going to start collecting some of this stuff, these branches, these things, and it's mostly just to clean up my area, okay? Because I don't like seeing stuff when I'm walking, trying to hunt bears down, trying to hunt coyotes, and because they're going to be in this radius around your camp. That's how far close they're going to come in. They might not go right up to your fire right away, but they're going to stay in this general radius. And if you're going out here to try and hit them with spears and you're clicking on a stick, oh, shoot. My guy's running to the stick, running right towards them. So I want to clean up all that mess that's in the general area just so that doesn't happen, all right? So I'm going to get rid of all my things that I can put in the chest, dried chamomile flowers. I have some spotted red mushrooms that I just picked up, and you're going to know later on in the game that those are going to be very important. That's how you make the tea that's going to bring your blight down. Okay, so you want to save those, but they do have a timer, so they're not going to last forever. So if you can help it, don't pick them up unless you need them. Leave them in the ground until you actually need to pick them. I just picked those up by accident because I was cleaning the area there. I am going to make a stockpile of, oh, I already have one, of branches. So we'll put those down. Sticks. Large sticks or long sticks. Small sticks, I used those up, so we will make a new pile over here for that. And we're not going to bother making that into rope yet. One other thing you can use as a, not tinder, but for twigs, for kindling, you can use these pine cones. So if you right click on them, you can take the seeds out first, and that gives you a little bit of food. So if I want to eat these, and you'll notice that there's 0% contamination on these, so you can eat them without any kind of concern. All it's going to do is drain your water a tiny, tiny bit. So I'm going to eat all those up. It brought it up a tiny bit. And I'm going to start a stockpile of these empty pine cones, because these are really good to use as kindling as well. So we have 8 hours left on our fire pit, so we can safely go out and do things. I'm going to get rid of this bush because I do not want it here, because I'm going to extend my shelter here, probably a little bit today anyway. Get rid of that. Go out, clean a little bit more in the area. So you'll notice that pine cone I just picked up said it was 1% contaminated. So some are 0%, some are 1%, some can get all the way up to 4 and 5%, I believe. So just be aware of that when you're picking up pine cones, if you plan on eating them, that some are going to be contaminated, some are not. The ones that fall from the trees that you cut down, those are the ones that I find are not contaminated at all. But if they've already fallen onto the ground just naturally, those are the ones that are going to have the 3%, the 1%, the 2%. Okay, so just be aware of that as well. So I picked up those mushrooms earlier by accident, and you'll notice here there's some more red mushrooms. But those red mushrooms are red cat mushrooms. They are not the same mushroom. So do not make the mistake of cooking with those instead, because I believe those ones are poisonous. I'm not 100% sure. I just don't remember. But there are some mushrooms that will hurt you, so just be aware of that as well. Alright, let's get rid of all this stuff I just picked up. Put it away. You'll notice that sometimes when you click on your stockpiles, your guy just kneels down for a second, but he doesn't actually do anything. It means nothing happened. So you just have to click on it again to get rid of everything that was on you. Right now, that's looking pretty good. We will take out all the seeds from these. And this will contaminate me a tiny, tiny bit. Alright. These ones will not, so that must have been the 10 that came from the one pine cone I picked up that was not contaminated. I'm still going to eat them. It's not going to kill me. It doesn't go up enough for 1%. Oh, I'm full, so I don't have to eat them. We will put these away. There we go. And we are going to work on at least getting one more room right now, maybe two, and extend our little shelter. We do not even have a roof on our first shelter yet, so we do have to work at that as well. So right now I'm going to cut down a few more young trees and get that going. Alright, I'm not going to make you guys watch this, so I'm just going to edit this part out. We'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, I'm back, everyone. I edited it out with a little bit of a gameplay that you guys didn't really have to see. It was just me collecting a bunch of resources out in the wild, cleaning up my area so that it looks a little neater. I did finish putting in all the poles, so I have enough set up for a 2x2 hut right now. And I'm going to be cooking water while I work on the rest of my shelter, because I never covered this part yet. I do want you guys to see how it's done, just in case you don't know how to do it. In my inventory, I do have a few pine nuts that I can eat along the way. Actually, I might as well get rid of a few right now while we wait. And yeah, so we're going to get to building this little shelter. And I'm going to drink up this water, and I will show you how that's done. And hopefully by the time we get to bed tonight, on day 2, we will have a shelter over our fire, a shelter over our bedroll. So just in case it rains, I really don't think it's going to, but just in case it rains, we'll have some protection. So we'll get a little bit more water boiling. I let myself get a little bit low there while I was collecting things. We're going to pick up some long sticks to start. We'll fill our inventory with as many as it'll carry. We'll fill our inventory with rope. And all we're going to do is we're going to right click on a stick we're going to build. And we're going to look for, we need to build stick support beams. So we're going to place those, and you'll see that it highlights green all along the top of our shelter. So all you're going to do is you're going to stand there, you're going to click on it, and it will automatically take the items out of your inventory that it needs to build this. If you don't have it, you will be able to at least place the ghost there, a ghost of the item you want to build, and then you just go back later when you have the items and you fill it in then. So you'll notice I ran out of sticks, so some of these, no, it looks like I have all of them built because they're all orange. That means I can just build them now. So if you click on them, you will be able to build them. I'm going to speed this process up with my speed up button, and we are going to build all of these support beams. Alright, I just finished off one part of my tutorial. Get all these built up. Might as well drink this water. It's done. And we'll get some more water. Oh, I still have a couple sticks on me there. They were in my offhand. Finish all this up. I see a bunny running around out there. He wants to be supper, I think, but I don't really need him yet, so I'm just going to let him live. Alright, so now that all my support beams are built, you can see my house is coming along pretty good. My shelter, I should say. It's definitely not a full-fledged house. I'm not going to have floors on this one. But now we are going to need to build a stick roof. Alright, this stick roof is not going to protect you from the elements. It will not stop the rain from coming through, but you do need some kind of framework so that once you put the pine branches on it, they have something to sit on. So I'm just going to collect some more rope, because we will need it. And I'm going to right click on this long stick, and I'm going to build again. And now I have more options. We are going to build the stick rafters. Alright, place that down. One there. You'll notice that these rafters are pointing a different direction. I haven't figured out a way to change the direction. I think it has to do with the angle of the shelter. So I don't think there's any way that you can actually change the direction of those. What did I do there? Wrong thing. Build with rafters. So you just have to put how it says you can hold shift to rotate, but that does not work for this. So I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to have one roof that's looks a little bit off, but it's minor. It still works, so it doesn't really make a difference to me. Alright, so now that we put those rafters down, we actually have to click on them, and add the stuff from your inventory. So I have enough rope on me. I do not have enough sticks. I'm just going to add the rope to all 4 of them. Just so that way there I can get the rope out of my inventories, because I don't really need it anymore right at this point in time. So I'm going to put that back in the stockpile. I'm going to go grab a few more long sticks, and we will continue building this. So that one's finished. We'll add to this one. We almost have enough for this one. All I'm doing there is I'm holding the shift button down to transfer as many as I can carry at once. Alright. So this should just about finish me off. I only need probably 4 or 5 left. I'll just take them all just so I don't have to go back. That one's finished. That one's finished. And that one's finished. Now we'll get rid of the long sticks. And we will build those. So now we are just going to click on all of them and build them. So now, I can't see them anymore. For whatever the reason they disappear. Sometimes that happens. So if that happens to you, all you have to do is push the page up button and you'll see the roof. If you push the page button down, you won't see the roof anymore. So that's handy once you have it built. You don't want to always see the roof in your face. You're just going to push the page down button to get rid of it. So you can't see it anymore. Okay? But if it ever disappears when you're trying to build, just push the page up button so you can see it, and then you can push the page down button after to get rid of it. Alright, so that is done. My rafters are all done. Again, you can see through them, so you know they're not protecting you from the rain. So at this point, we are going to go over here and we're going to grab some pine branches. Again, you can make this out of clay tiles. A lot of work, a lot of resources, a lot of collecting, and this early in the game, not really important because this is going to stop the rain just as good as the clay tiles. So you're just as good to make it with this, and it's called a leaf roof, and you're going to place it on top of what you've already built. I'll place all 4 down. Then I'm going to build them again. Page up so I can see them. Add from inventory. I'm going to need rope as well. So we'll collect all the rope that we have. I think I have enough. Pretty sure I do. Alright, we will just add everything first. I can build 2 of them. I should definitely try and get this one done if I have enough. I do not have enough leaves, but I have enough rope. And this one I have enough rope. So we will get rid of the rope, and we will be done with it for a little while now. Pick up the branches, and we should have enough to completely finish our 2x2, which is awesome news. Alright, so I'm just going to build these up quickly here. And it is getting late in the day. I can tell by the direction of the sun here. It's starting to go away from our area. And it's almost nightfall. There. Now we have our fully functioning shelter with a roof on it. So anywhere under these 4 squares, we will be protected from the rain. Alright, and this is where I would suggest putting your stuff. I'm going to move my pine cones, so I might as well do that now. I'm going to move my pine leaves, do that now. And I'm going to try and find a location so they're not too much in the way. And so I'm not constantly running into them. So if you hold shift down, you can rotate your stacks a little bit. So if I put this here, it's going to block my way in from there, and I don't really want to do that. And I also don't want to block it from any other direction. But for now, if I'm just going to kind of tuck it in the middle, right next to this post, because I'm not going to run to the post. I'm going to try and run to the middle. So that'll be one area, and then I'm going to put these leaves maybe right next to them in the middle. Oh, sorry about that. Hold the shift down. And it's not going to fit right there, unfortunately. So let's go this way. Let's put it right here. So yes, it's kind of in the way, but once I'm underneath here, I don't care. I can run around, and you will be able to run over some of the things like the leaves and the pine cones. So as long as you're not hitting the corners where those little sticks are, you should be okay. All right, but you can't run through the chests. So they are kind of a little bit bigger concern when you go to place them. I'm going to drink this water because we do need it, and we might as well get some more boiling. Alright, now let's take a look and see what we need to do next. It says here we need to sculpt the clay bowl, so that means we are going to need clay. It says here, let's add roof and wall. So it's asking me to construct one stick wattle wall between one set of posts. Normally, if I'm doing a playthrough without the tutorial, because I don't care about the tutorial anymore, I will not do that point. I don't need walls on this little 4x4 because all that is just a pain in the butt to try and get through later. If I want to enter through that area, I have to do this. Or I don't want it there. So I'm going to put it on a wall where I feel I'm not going to use as much as the other walls. And I feel that this wall is going to be right here because I do plan on making this a 3x3, so I will have an outer wall. And when I come in, I usually come in one of the corners, and I don't usually go right through the middle, not all the time anyway. So I think I'm just going to cover up this wall. I don't want to have to take it down later. I'm just going to build it and leave it. So I will use that as the wall. I'll grab some rope, and I'm going to put that together right now just to move the tutorial along. So we click on build. You must not need rope for that apparently. I thought you did. Nope. Guess you don't need rope for that. You just need sticks and long sticks. So we'll grab our stockpile of sticks. I grabbed the whole thing. I might as well put the rope back down since I don't need it. And I'm going to need long sticks. I don't think I have enough of those, but we can go get some in a little bit. So right here, stick wattle wall. We'll place that down. So what you do is you click on the first post, you drag it to the second post. You don't have to hold the mouse button down. You can let go of the mouse button and then you just click again. It creates the ghost effect. I'm going to get rid of, I don't think it actually took the sticks. Oh, it did. Good. So we're going to get rid of all these sticks. Put those back down. And then we'll grab what we have for long sticks. You can see that it's getting darker. The crickets are out. So we only have an hour or two to sunset. So we'll start hearing the wolves howling. I need 2 long sticks. Like I say, I'm a risk taker. I'm not too concerned about the animals at this point. So we're going to go take a little run out here and grab a couple more long sticks to finish that off. One other thing, when we were at the cabin earlier, I never noticed, but usually at cabins you're going to see firewood stacked up along the side that whoever used to live here left behind before they passed away or before they left. Who knows what happened to them. So I'm going to grab those on my way back. I know it's a little distance away, but I figured I might as well have it. It's free firewood. And yeah, if you ever find one of those cabins at a long distance away from where you're at, from where your camp is, and you need to stay the night, well, you got some free firewood. Just collect 10 small stones, make yourself a fire pit, and you're good to go. You're going to notice that when I go to caves that are quite a distance from where I'm at, I'm going to make fire pits because you are going to need to light torches if you want to see inside of those caves. But usually I only carry 1 torch around with me at all times. I don't usually make 2 torches. There's no point, because all you need to do is get a little bit of animal fat and you can refuel your torch. So even if it's out, you can just right click on your torch if you have a piece of animal fat on you and just refuel your torch, and it fills up the bar and you can just keep using the same torch over and over and over and over again. So if you're one of these people that thinks, oh, I need to make 5 torches and keep them, well, you're just wasting space really in your chest or wherever you plan on keeping these torches. 1 is fine. So I think I have enough now on me. I might as well just grab some stuff on my way back. I'll grab some sticks and some stones just to fill up my inventory. There's no point walking all the way up here and collecting a few sticks and going back. I'll grab some stuff. I am going to try and avoid getting the spotted red mushrooms just because once you pick them they do have a timer and I don't want to waste them because they are kind of important later on, and you don't want to waste them if you can help it. One thing that I did notice about this game, and I did a little bit of research on it, and I noticed that it is a bug. The developer knows about it and he is trying to fix it. But when you plant mushrooms, you can't just plant them anywhere. You have to plant them indoors. So you have to basically make a little room like this, covered with walls and a roof, in order for you to plant them down. And that's the only way you can get them to stick. That's the only way you can plant them. And you can go back 5 minutes later and they're gone. They disappear. So I'm not sure why that happens. The developer does know about it. He said he was working on a fix. I have seen that at places, and I'm pumped about that. But for now, planting red mushrooms, you will waste them. I successfully grew them one time out of all the times that I've tried. So in saying that, I wasted probably 20 trying to regrow them. They just never took. They disappear in a second. And I did the exact same thing that I did the first time where I was successful. So just letting you guys know that if you plant red mushrooms, there's a very good chance you're going to lose them. And why waste them? So just don't bother. All right? Not until they fix it anyway. I'm sure there will be a patch at some future point to fix them. Alright, so now that I'm back, I'm just getting rid of the stuff that I have extra on me that I do not need, just to make myself some room. I do have some stones. I always keep a stockpile of stones because eventually I will make stone walls to protect my area. It is a lot stronger than sticks, so you will probably want to do that as well, but not necessary, obviously. Animals don't do a crap ton of damage to your walls, so you can just fix them once you fight the animals off or kill them or get rid of them. So, yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to end this here. It's just about nighttime. This video is getting pretty long. I'm going to try and keep the videos a little bit shorter and all episodes to come, all future episodes, because nobody wants to watch a 2-hour long video. But for the first one, I figured that I had a lot to say, a lot to explain to the new people who are just getting to know the game. If you do have any questions, you can leave comments below and I will try and answer them. But yeah, we do have a small shelter fixed up. We're moving along in our tutorial quite well. Tomorrow morning when I wake up, I will probably start the next video before morning, but tomorrow we will be looking for clay, we will be making charcoal piles, and we will be moving along in the tutorial at a pace that should be fairly good. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe button and that like button, it would be appreciated, okay? And hopefully we'll see you in the next video. See you guys later. Bye.